this love for you, and where I want to take you to. Scattered with that one thing left to do. I'm scattered what I need to see, to be the man I long to be. But the one thing that belongs is you in my brain. So scattered.
I gave up a lot of things for music. I gave up football, gave up baseball. One of my best friends pitches for the Twins. All my friends were like that. We were workhorses. We were working our tails off in Boulder and Denver playing sports, and there's a lot of good athletes in Colorado. Also in the music industry, you give up a lot of family time because you're always on the road. So I gave up a lot of that as well. I was very lucky growing up, and I was lucky being the youngest too, because by the time I came out, everybody was kind of desensitized, and there were no rules, and I could imagine what I wanted to do. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here at all. My dad's always been there. I mean, he coached my Pee Wee football team, and he had 2 of my brothers on the team, and we were undefeated for 3 years. That's my dad. And my mom is kind of the support and the strength to everything. She held us all together. She's the only woman with 5 boys, and a husband that lets us do whatever. So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Everybody starts somewhere. Prince isn't 21 years old pushing his first album right now anymore. So I mean, somebody started, and somebody either pushed them down to where they had to prove themselves, or lifted them up, and hopefully it was lifted them up. I'm going to read you the story that I have in the Chicken Soup American Idol book this year. I didn't know it was going to be so personal. I didn't know it was going to be so revealing. And I'm really glad that it is, because you know, you can get so much on the internet on us after we jump on Idol, but this is truly part of me. So I'm going to read this for you right now. From the time I was very young, I found great comfort sitting alone in my room listening to song lyrics. I would feel every one of them. Sometimes my father and mother would peek in and ask, "Why are you listening to that song, Ace?" My answer would always be the same. I'd put my hand on my chest and say, "Because I feel it." I always felt the pain and the joy from a song, and it would stay with me for a very long time. Being offered a football scholarship really posed a dilemma for me, because I had to make a very difficult decision, one that would change my life forever. And when I made that decision, I didn't know it was going to be so life-changing. So I headed out the back door, picked up the pigskin, and asked my father if he wouldn't mind throwing a few. He never minded. My father stepped back, cocked his arm, and sent a spiraling pass high into the Denver crystal blue sky. It spun perfectly as I went deeper and deeper towards our backyard end zone. With my arms reaching as far as they could go, my father's voice echoed around it, "Run faster! You got it, Ace! You got it!" I jumped into the air, and as my hands wrapped around the weathered brown leather, we both shouted, "Touchdown!" It was then I shared with him what seemed to be on my mind every waking minute of the day. "I just can't decide what to do, Dad. I don't know if I'm supposed to play college football or go into music. I love both so much." My father took the football from my hands, wiped his brow, looked at me intently, and spoke quietly. "Son, I know you love them both, but you'll never be able to figure it out by thinking so much. Let your heart lead you." With that, he gave me a pat on the back, handed me the ball, smiled, and walked toward the house. I stared at the blue sky, thinking about my father's words. Suddenly, I knew there was no choice. I hope that when people read my story, that they can relate. And if they can't, that means that you're getting right up to that big decision for you. So once you get through it, read it again. Because I think we go through that every day. There's always a decision that could change you right now. And that was one of them. And I've made many more since then. But yeah, I hope that when you read my story, you can relate.
With that one thing left to do, I'm scattered what I need to see, to be the man I long to be. But the one thing that belongs is you in my brain. So scattered.